Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
It is a number that hasn't been seen since the Great Depression, but right now nearly 15% of Americans are unemployed. Help Me Hank is in to help navigate what is very unknown territory for so many.
And Dr. McGeorge does his best to answer his most commonly asked question: how long will this pandemic last?
We're going to begin, though, with the human toll and the lives lost to the coronavirus. In the past 24 hours, 50 more Michiganders have died and 680 new cases have been confirmed.
But as those numbers slowly continue to decline, the economic toll this pandemic has caused is only getting worse.
And that new jobs report today shows us just how badly 20.5 million American jobs lost in the month of April.
And this is the most sudden and largest drop since the government started tracking it back in 1939.
In total, that puts the U.S. unemployment rate at a staggering 14.7%. Let's bring in our consumer investigator, Hank Winchester. Hank, so many people trying to navigate this unemployment system for the first time in their lives, and it has been a mess for so many of them.
Yeah, Devin, Karen, unfortunately, I mean, those numbers that you just revealed, those are astounding. And the problem here in Michigan, it's actually getting through to the system because so many people in our state, more than 1 million, all trying to log on or call to try to get those benefits. And as you will see, many are still having challenges. The new unemployment numbers just released are huge. Almost 31 million Americans out of work. And filing here in Michigan has been frustrating. Just ask Miranda Brooks, who's been trying to file since March.
It's extremely frustrating. I have called just last week alone in my phone record, in my phone calls. It was something like over 600 times in 1 week I tried to call.
Miranda worked at the Jewish Community Center. Now, like many, she's out of work and she's worried about the bills that are starting to pile up.
I still have a phone bill due. I still have health care premiums due. I still have a car payment due. Like, those things don't stop.
Here in Michigan, many have had trouble logging on or calling in. Here are some of the common general questions I've received that could help you. What are the best days to call or log on? Best days are Wednesday and Saturday. Best time in the evening. Are more Michiganders now eligible to file? The answer is yes. That includes independent contractors, the self-employed, low-income earners. The list is expanding and everything is posted on the UIA website. Can I work part-time and still collect? The answer is yes. But again, pay attention to how much you're earning. It could affect whether you can continue to collect. How long does it take to start receiving my money? Typically 17 to 20 days, but every situation is unique. I've been reading all of your email messages and also answering the tip line calls that are coming in. Listen, I get it. I know this has been incredibly frustrating, and the team with the unemployment agency is working to try to navigate some of these issues. If you have other questions that have left unanswered, and I'm sure you do, know that on the Help Me Hank page at clickondetroit.com, there is a lot of valuable information, the most commonly asked questions, and also information directly from the director of the Unemployment Insurance Agency. I'm Hank Winchester. Help Me Hank.
We'll stay on it. All right, Hank. Now, we were told to expect this. That doesn't mean we have to like it. Waves of snow out falling on May 8th.
Oh, and that's just the half of it. Let's get to Andrew. He's in for Ben tonight, tracking a freeze warning for later this evening.
And Devin and Karen, those are the two halves that are put together that make it feel and look like winter instead of spring here in May on a Friday. And a freeze warning goes into effect later on tonight. After you join us at 11 p.m. at midnight, that's when the freeze warning goes into effect for Detroit and nearly all of southeast Michigan. You notice Sanilac County is not shaded. Still, temperatures will be near the freezing mark there. Pets, potted plants, make sure they're back indoors. Here's what I mean by it looks like winter. A radar picture like this, you normally see in early March, maybe February, certainly January, with scattered raindrops and snowflakes around. Not amounting to much, but a good snow shower or two in northern Macomb County into St. Clair County, including around Washington Township, also around Armada. 42 degrees right now, but it feels like it's in the 30s with a brisk wind out there. And temperatures currently mostly in the 30s and low 40s. 32 degrees only at the freezing mark in Port Huron. And temperatures slip into the 20s later tonight, possibly tying or breaking a record by tomorrow morning. More on that and your full Mother's Day forecast, Mother's Day weekend forecast in moments.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Following the armed protests inside the state capitol, Michigan's attorney general says carrying guns there could be banned without a new law being passed.
Yeah, Attorney General Dana Nessel says the Michigan State Capitol Commission can ban guns from the Capitol if they choose. Nessel cites a Michigan Supreme Court ruling that gives groups like school districts or the Capitol Commission the authority to regulate guns. Michigan House Democrats now asking the Capitol Commission to do exactly that and ban guns inside the Capitol.
So now that the auto industry is ready to go back to work, many wonder what it will look like.
Tonight, we're getting a better idea based on what General Motors is telling its workforce. Business editor Rob Maloney shows us the intricate plan they've developed to try to keep workers safe on the job.
Well, this is the 48-page GM playbook that they're offering to employees. It's called Returning to Work with Confidence, and that's what they know they need to have because they have thousands of people working in a very large space, but oftentimes very tightly together. So how do you deal with that? Well, Alex Calderon, who is a turnaround expert and also auto analyst, says this strikes the right tone.
There have been UAW workers who have actually contracted the disease potentially at work and passed away from it. You have a workforce that is absolutely petrified.
GM CEO Mary Barra told employees who were sent this playbook today, quote, "In these uncertain times, we must focus on controlling what we can and will continue to take the appropriate actions," end quote. The book takes on much in great detail, starting with risk mitigation, meaning it's working on communication and awareness of the plan, site entry, which includes temperature taking and health interviews, sanitization of high-touch places and workspaces. It takes into account physical distancing as well, requiring it when possible, but offering equipment to help when it's not. It spends a lot of time on ventilation and critical supply management and signage. Mara concludes her message to employees by saying, quote, "We will live our values and demonstrate our behaviors in order to protect you and our company," end quote.
I don't think there's an alternative solution. Perhaps one would be that everyone just wear spacesuits, but that in and of itself would have other problems. So I think I don't think there's any way around this. I think the world is changing.
Of course, when you're dealing with a company the size of General Motors, when you're dealing with a plan this complex, even though you try and think of everything, oftentimes things do slip through the cracks. And so they go back to work come Monday and the following Monday, and things will not work in some places. They know this, but they've said that they are flexible and ready to fix anything and change anything that needs to be. In West Bloomfield, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Yeah, okay, Rod. Now, these slow steps back to work highlight just how different life as we know it is going to be for a while.
And that hits to the heart of a question our Dr. Frank McGeorge is hearing a lot of these days. He joins us now with the answer. Doc.
Not surprisingly, a question I hear all the time is simply, when will this all be over? And my answer is exactly what you'd think it is. I wish I knew, but there are a few things I know that might be helpful to help frame the future. There really aren't many previous situations that we can use to compare outside of prior influenza pandemics. And if COVID-19 follows those patterns, everyone should be prepared for the long game, not just the single episode that we are currently weathering. Some prior flu pandemics did stop after several months, but there have also been flu pandemics that followed a pattern of decreasing after a few months, only to resurge in a cyclical pattern that continued over 2 years. Now, if that happens with COVID-19, with each recurrent wave, there will be additional cases and deaths until we either develop herd immunity or a vaccine becomes available. Now, the SARS-CoV-2 virus has been found to have a number of very troubling characteristics that allow it to spread easily. It can spread in the air and through surfaces. It takes several days before someone has symptoms, and they can spread the virus before they even know they're infected. Now, hopefully, if there are future resurgences, we are able to manage them without shutting down our society. We need to be prepared to reduce spread by limiting unnecessary contacts, practicing good hand hygiene, and wearing masks if necessary. Now, honestly, no one knows for sure what will happen after we make it through the current outbreak, but the bottom line is we should all mentally be prepared for resurgences. And if we adjust our behaviors, there is a good chance we can blunt the severity and minimize any future spread. Back to you.
Experts say it is possible that the coronavirus will never completely go away, but rather a combination of vaccination and immunity will limit its ability to spread.
A white former police officer and his son faced a judge for the first time today in the murder of an unarmed black man in Georgia. Ahmaud Arbery would have turned 26 years old today, but instead of celebrating his birthday, Arbery's family is searching for answers. Jay Gray reports they say he was gunned down in cold blood.
No justice! No peace!
Calls for justice.
We will not rest until they are convicted and behind bars.
Growing louder in Georgia just hours after Gregory McMichael and his son Travis were arrested, charged with aggravated assault and murder in the shooting death of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery. Both men standing before a judge for the first time today during a brief video proceeding. Officers with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation focused on the case this week. Just days after this disturbing video of the incident was made public, but more than 2 months after Arbery was killed.
This DA had all this evidence, but yet did not make an arrest until the public outcry. It wasn't until we saw the video that they arrested them.
Gregory McMichael, a former police officer, told investigators he considered Arbery a suspect in a string of robberies in their neighborhood and that Arbery attacked Travis and was killed during a struggle over his son's weapon. Arbery's family says he was unarmed, jogging, like he often did, just a block or so from his home.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Now, honored by runners across the country.
In memory of Ahmaud, on what would have been his 26th birthday, we run with Ahmaud.
His family struggling with their loss.
He just was outgoing with everybody. So he just loved the people. He just didn't deserve to go out like that.
Unable to celebrate Arbery's birthday, unwavering in their push for justice. Jay Gray, Local 4.
All right, Jay. No hate crime charges have been filed because Georgia is one of the few states that does not have a hate crimes statute. Ahead here at 5:30, a look at how a group of Detroiters paid special tribute today in Arbery's memory.
We are off and running on a Friday. Here's Grant.
Some of the state's largest churches are suing the governor, saying her executive orders have gone too far. I'm Grant Herms, and I'll tell you what they're saying and why they want to reopen.
Also, workers return to Mackinac Island, but wait until you see what they're doing in hopes of keeping visitors showing up. Sean.
Many small businesses telling the state they don't think they're going to survive this shutdown. A small business owner here in Birmingham says she's in total survival mode. She's even turned to Instagram to try to make things happen for her business, and it's working.